All right, we're going to try and graph this piecewise function, r of x, but first it wants us to graph f of x and g of x. So these are the two pieces that make up the piecewise function. So when we go down to part 1, it wants to graph this linear function, which has a y-intercept of 2. And so when I go to graph this line, I'm going to go to a y value of 2, which is right here, plot that. Then my slope is 1, because right next to x is really an invisible 1, that's the coefficient. So it'll go up 1 over 1. So that's going to be my line. Now I want to cut it off because it only wants to keep the line where my x's are less than or equal to 0. So if I look at where x equals 0 here, this is going to be my boundary, and I don't want to keep anything over here. It only wants when x is less than or equal to 0. So I'm going to plot my point first just to make sure, because it does want to actually touch when x equals 0. When x equals 0, I'm right there at the 2. So then for my cutting, I'm going to cut at 0, 2, and then I'm going to use my eraser and erase that part right there because I only want the part where I'm smaller, which would be to the left. Okay, so there's that part. Let's check it, make sure we're good. Beautiful. Moving on to the next part. This is a parabola. That negative is making me reflect over the x-axis. The 2 is making me do a vertical stretch. So I'm going to go over to my little tools over here, and I'm going to use my parabola tool. I am at 0, 0, but then I am upside down, so I'm going to go downward. And I am vertically stretched by 2, which makes me go right here. So instead of going to the right 1, down 1, it's down 2, because it's twice as big for those y values, but again in that negative direction. So it only wants to keep the part where x is greater than 0. So when x equals 0, I'm right there on the vertex. So I'm going to make this open circle this time. And for cutting purposes, I want to cut to the left. So I'm going to put in 0, 0. And then I'm going to use the eraser to erase the left side because I only want to keep what's on the right side. And so then putting those two pieces together will make my piecewise function. So I'm going to sketch those again really quick here. We go up to 2, up 1, over 1. There's the line. Put a solid dot when x equals 0. Use my cutting tool. Put in the point 0, 2. And then I'm going to use my eraser and erase everything that's greater. Because it only wants to look like that when I'm less than or equal to 0. So remember, equal to gets that solid point there. Then on the bottom, I'm going to be a parabola. Its vertex is 0, 0. It's going to be downward facing and stretched by 2. And I'm going to put an open circle this time, right here, where x is equal to 0. And use my cutting tool. I'm going to put in 0, 0 here. That point. And use the eraser to erase the left side, which also makes sense because it has to be a function, so it has to pass the vertical line test. And let's check that, make sure we're good. Success! Yay, we did it.